welcome to another episode of Touring the AFC South. I'm your host, Mike Patton, and on this episode, I brought in somebody that's from the hometown, Nashville. Yeah, if you didn't know, I'm from Nashville. I'm born and raised here in Nashville, and my guest is definitely born and raised here in the city. He definitely is well known from the business that he is a co-founder of. To be Mr. Clint Gray, co-founder of Slim and Husky's Pizza. What's going on, man?
Man, what's up, Mike? Man, glad to be on the show. Been following you for a long time, and man, it feels good to be a part of what you got going on.
Man, greatly appreciate you coming on the show. Of course, I do go to Slim and Huskies to get some pizza. I go to $10 Tuesday. It don't even got to be Tuesday. I still will go ahead and slide over there. And for those that don't know, I get the number of the V thing. I love that pizza. I'm not vegan, but I love the taste of that pizza. It's great.
Man, we've been bringing a lot of people over to the vegan side with that one, man. Got some good plant-based pepperoni and sausage. Sometimes you can't tell the difference,
No, you can't. You can. I can attest to that. But since we're talking about Slim and Huskies, let's go ahead and for those that aren't aware, can you kind of give them the rundown or the explanation of the story as to how y'all got started?
Man, absolutely. So, man, Slim and Huskies, the name says it all. One skinny dude, two big guys, came up as best friends. Decided to start our own business post college. We talked a lot of stuff about starting our own business. We were in college, man. So we used to talk about when we graduated. We did everything but that. And then one day, we reminded ourselves of that, and we took a shot at starting our first business together. Was a moving company. Actually, we didn't have enough money to start a restaurant, and we worked our butts off with that moving company. It was called the Green Truck Moving and Storage. 7 years later, we sold that business, took our earnings, and opened up. What now is Slim and Huskies. We grew up in that TGIF era. Thank goodness it's Fridays, or pizza parties, sleepovers. You know what I'm saying? Family Matters, Boy Meets World. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
that whole genre. And so we just had a affinity for pizza, and we decided to make that entrance in the hospitality, and that was in 2017, March of 2017, and so we're going into like our 8th year of business right now, and still running strong, still got big plans. So
yes, sir. And now, of course, for those that aren't aware, can you please give them the places that you all are located? Now, I know these places, but I'm just saying this for the people that are watching that don't know.
Yes, so we're in Nashville, of course. We've got several locations in Nashville. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple of locations in Atlanta, and we're also in Memphis, Tennessee. And we've got one location on the campus of Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. And we've got another one that we're opening up pretty soon in Franklin, Tennessee. So we're really excited about that at the factory of Franklin.
Got you. Now, please don't tell everybody that you're a Tennessee State alum with a store in Jackson State's campus. Don't let them know.
Hey, we working on TSU, man. It's a process, but we're gonna get there. When we do open up at TSU, it's gonna be a grand occasion.
Oh, I bet it will, man. Please bring the band out too, man, and let the band be out there and everything.
We're gonna be the TSU, kind of like what Nike is to Oregon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna bring the heat.
Okay. Definitely look forward to seeing that, man. Look forward to seeing that. But yeah, man, of course we can talk Slim and Huskies all day, as you said previously. But of course we got to talk about this draft, man. I know aside from Slim and Huskies, you are a big football guy. And aside from being a football guy, you are a fan of the Tennessee Titans. So as far as the Tennessee Titans, man, I got to ask, what did you think about their draft?
The Tennessee Titans had an excellent draft. I think that our draft this year pairs really well with our draft from last year. We addressed a lot of our trench issues in the last few years, but This year we went out and we got simply what we needed, and that was a playmaker. Cam Ward is a playmaker. He's a leader. Number one asset to me, a leader of men. As you can see, I think I was watching something the other day where a coach in Miami basically said, man, he came in his third day at Miami. He was already running the show, telling people what to do, what time practices were, voluntary practices were, and making sure the team was following his lead. So super excited about that. But, man, just the range of picks from one, all the way to the sixth round, man. I think we covered a lot of issues. I think that our sleeper on this draft is probably going to be Kevin Winston Jr. I think he's going to be a primetime player for us. A lot of people like to focus on players have injuries, but it's important to know he only played a few games last year, so he's already rehabbed and probably be back in time for camp. And if you watch his tape, man, he's got great ball instincts, hard hitter, and he's a guy that's been a star, since Little League football. So he, I think was projected to be a first-round pick if he wouldn't have gotten injured. We got a chance to get him in the third, along with, a host of other great players.
Definitely. I mean, the wide receiver out of Stanford, for those that don't remember, that the Titans drafted, he got 294 yards against Travis Hunter in Colorado.
You know what I like about that pick is that last year, it's very, very similar to how I feel about J.C. Latham, right? Like, we picked up J.C. Latham, I feel like, in a response to Will Anderson, right? It's like, what better way to slow down a guy like Will Anderson that we got to see twice a year than to grab the guy that he practices against every day, you know what I'm saying, at Alabama, right? And I feel the same way about this pick with the receiver from Stanford. I mean, putting up 294, on the secondary and mostly Travis Hunter is a confidence booster that you're not going to forget about. And you best believe Travis Hunter remembers that game as well. And, you would think that, okay, he's Travis Hunter, he'll get him back. But you never know, man. Like, sometimes when people have your number in sports, it's like, it's a battle, especially when it's one-on-one. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. You know it. And of course, what other picks did you like as well? I know I like the I would say the pick that I think is going to be interesting, the edge rusher from out of UCLA, Oladejo. Yeah.
He played. He stood up at Cal, outside linebacker, I believe. And if you go and look at his Cal tape, he was just a ball player there. They moved him to edge at UCLA. And so, they're saying he's still developing at that position. But, man, he's got the size, he's got the speed and the aggressiveness. It's something that we don't have right now, and I feel like he'll definitely be more than likely a day one starter for us, a great replacement for Landry, and also somebody that could potentially at some point demand extra attention to take some of the pressure off of Big Jeff, So yeah. I like that pick. I also really like the battle we're gonna have at tight end during camp.
Yeah,
we got
Gunnar Helm, man.
Yeah, we got good talent at tight end. I mean, all the way down to David. He's last on the depth chart, but I mean, he had a really good camp last year. I think it was I forgot his last name, but yeah, man, I think Chig, brings another element at tight end with his speed. But to have Wiley and Helm, both tall guys, 6'6", 6'5" guys at the tight end spot, what Gunnar did for Texas and his ability to get open, especially when the play gets broken up, you know what I mean? And, Cam Ward is a guy that knows how to bail from the pocket and make things happen. And what better gift to give him than, a 6'6" guy that can catch the ball, right. You know what I'm saying, and get downfield. Right. So, yeah, I feel good about that pick. And then, it wasn't a draft pick, but Xavier Restrepo, AP All-American, you have to be excited about that pick. Talking Cam's top target, a record holder at University of Miami, and we catch him in free agency. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like the cherry on top for me is that pickup. And us, the DK kid out of Florida, the kid from
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, and Restrepo all coming in. I don't see how we could have had a better draft, to be honest with you.
It sounds like you definitely love the Titans draft, man.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it was a very good draft. I got a little it got a little interesting. I was like, okay, they didn't pick a wide receiver here. What's going on? But then they ended up coming up with two wide receivers, and the first one out of Florida, a lot of people weren't aware of. But when I did a little digging, I mean, he's got 4.3 speed. He's
Yeah.
a guy that led them in receiving last year as well.
Yeah.
And that's with two quarterbacks basically the entire season.
Yeah.
So
And
I would say not bad.
he's got
He can return
4.34
to revert.
speed, not
Yep.
like 4.39, like 4. He's on the bottom end. So
Yeah.
and he's like a deep crosser guy,
Mm-hmm.
and with Cam's uh his arm strength, I can see him definitely taking advantage of that. But look at the situation they're coming into with a guy like Calvin Ridley, right? Like you got
Mm-hmm.
a pro, like a real pro with experience, and he's got this group of young talented receivers coming in, which you could look at as competition, but he knows he's got his spot, what I'm saying, for this year, of course. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just look at him being able to mentor those guys and bring them into a good situation. And I think you've also still got some talent, like get your Bryce Oliver out there that's still developing underneath us. And we just of course announced, I think today, we're not picking up Burke's 5th-year option. So
Mm-hmm.
man, this
Got
is
Tyler Lockett too.
yeah,
Brought in.
and Tyler Lockett, man. So I think they've addressed some definitely some issues with what we knew we had problems with, and that was scoring the football. Now they got guys
Mm-hmm.
that that's all they want to go do. And I would have felt differently if we would have picked Cam and we just would have focused on other areas and skill. But I mean, they did the best job they could, what they had to work with to give him some talent in year one.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how things shape up around, uh, Nissan Stadium 1, and then out there at, the sports park out
Hey,
there
hey,
in
hey,
North Nashville.
hey, Mike, I apologize. Let me. I was banking on the natural light. I need to cut me a lamp on real quick. Hold on 1 second for me. All
Gotcha.
right.
Well, we're getting ready
Sorry.
to go commercial real quick, man. So hang
Oh,
on
cool.
1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go commercial real quick. When we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of the AFC South. Boy, oh boy, a lot of interesting stuff happened there. We'll be back right after this commercial break.
Awesome.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we're back on touring the AFC South. Definitely a little bright over there. A little brighter. I'm
Yeah,
just
man.
joking, man. I'm just joking.
I want you to see my AFC South champions hat, man. I was, it was getting dark over here.
So, the Titans definitely trying to draft to return to that, but I will say other teams in the AFC South are gunning for that division crown too. But I do have one other thing I want to ask you as well. Cam wasn't getting a lot of love when it came to the draft, man. It was everyone else, which I understand. But I mean, what did you think about all that, man? It's like he's probably the least ballyhooed first number one overall pick, probably in the I can remember.
I think that what you saw there was basically just a continuance of the domination that Primetime and Family had in the college ranks being brought into sorry about that. My daughter had a balloon up on the ceiling, man, caught the ceiling fan. But thought the house was coming down. But yeah, I think that what you're seeing there is just the media following them into the pros. The moment that the Jags made the trade up to 2, man, the media was just all over it. There's nothing, nothing that could stop them from carrying that story. The fact that, Cam worked from 0-star to the first, pick of the NFL draft and doesn't even get an interview to the nation is crazy to me. But that also shows you, just how much the media loves Deion Sanders and what they created in Colorado. And so they were not going to miss the opportunity to cover Travis Hunter getting picked up. So I hate that for Cam, but I hope that puts a chip on his shoulder and makes sure that, that we get even more coverage, more Monday Night Football games, more mentions on ESPN, First Take, etc. So, yeah, man, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of interesting, you brought it up. The Jacksonville Jaguars trade from 5 to go get to go to number 2 to go get Travis Hunter, a cornerback wide receiver out of Colorado and Jackson State University.
Mm-hmm.
Man, did you see what was your thoughts when you saw that happen?
Yeah, I thought they had better needs, honestly, like for their team. I think Travis Hunter is a sexy pick for them. I think Travis Hunter is a call from the owner to the fans saying, "Hey, like we want you back in the stadium, and we hear some of the things that you guys are complaining about, and we want to make this a team that that America loves and that you can be proud of." We've seen the empty stadiums in Jacksonville, and I think that's what that was about. Let's, as an owner, you have to understand that the league is a business at the end of the day. We got to fill seats. We got to make our customers happy. And I don't think a defensive tackle or a defensive end, even though the depth of the defensive line in this draft was crazy, I think that they took him at that pick as a call to fans saying, "Hey, like it's showtime. Let's get to business." Yeah.
Now, I will say this. I spoke to Cecil Shorts, who's a former NFL wide receiver, played for the Jaguars and the Texans. And he was like, he kind of compared him to, like, he said he's a Justin Jefferson waiting to happen as a wide receiver, which was, I was like, wow, I didn't know what to say to that. I'm like, I mean, I can't tell him he's wrong, but, I'm just like, I never thought of that one though.
Yeah, he's definitely the generational talent, one of probably 3 in this draft that I think that, you don't pass on. But, man, they gave up a lot. They gave up the first next year. Then did they give up a second this year too?
They gave up a second, but they already had some seconds, so it really didn't phase them as much.
Yeah, but I hate giving up first round picks. You know what I'm saying? The likelihood of them having another high first round pick is pretty high. So, maybe it works out for them, but they are going to be dependent on a defensive line. They've got, I think, Eric Armstead kind of anchoring the interior there. He's a 10-year vet, so they need some youth there. And there was definitely some youth out there for them to pick up that they passed on. And I don't think they got any edge help either, did they?
I don't believe they did. I think they got a linebacker. They got a cornerback. They got a wide receiver. I'm not sure. I don't believe they went and got edge help, but I will say that they do have Mason Smith in there. They drafted in the second or third round last year from LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he might be a guy that maybe slides in there and provides more for them inside. But, I will say this about Jacksonville. I've said this for a while about Jacksonville. When it comes to the run game or their defense, they've always been a donut. They've
Yeah.
been solid on the outside, but it's been
Mm-hmm.
nothing in the middle. And
Yeah.
teams run on them. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of interested to see if Mason Smith can actually help and
No,
stop those things.
it's good news for us, for sure. I think the one thing that we did with the Titans, we got bigger, and if you think about that Gunnar Ham pick, and even the kid from Sacramento State, I mean, we added some size, and I think we can definitely continue to expose the run game against them. And but it was also shocking. I was looking up some stats. They last year I think they were second to last in overall defense, and they were dead last in the passing game, stopping the passing game. And so I don't really see how they helped themselves there. So, they got a long road ahead.
Well, they definitely are betting on their back end being stronger this year. So that's one way I can say they probably are thinking about it. But usually it goes with you bring pressure up front, and that makes your back end stronger. But
Yeah.
hey, maybe they got a different plan that we aren't privy to. But of course, the Texans, speaking of different plans that we aren't privy to, now they got rid of all their offensive linemen except for like one. Which means they cut Shaq Mason. They traded Kenyon Green to the Eagles for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They traded Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders. They let go of another guy. I mean, they brought in some vets. They brought in Cam Robinson, who used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, got traded to the Vikings. Now is coming back to the AFC South. And they brought in Laken Tomlinson, who is a 32-year-old vet in the league, which, 32 is not old, but in football years, that's old. I'm thinking, they're going to draft maybe one lineman, something like that in the draft. No, they did. I mean, at least 2 or 3 linemen or something.
Yeah, they went
draft
and
2 wide
replaced Tank
receivers
Dell.
and they draft 1 lineman.
Yeah, I think they're showing you what they foreseeing with Tank Dell and his injury. Surprising to see him get 2 receivers from the same school, but they're both quality receivers.
They've got 3 wide receivers from Iowa State on their roster now. In the last 3 years, they've got 3. They drafted with the Tank Dell draft. They drafted an Iowa State wide receiver. This draft, they draft 2 of them, and I'm just like,
that's interesting. But looking at their highlight film, I mean, they can play. They can go, but I don't know how I feel about not addressing the O line much more. I think they picked up the kid from Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken.
They traded for him. Yeah, he was a backup. He was originally a top pick, played, then he got benched. Now he's getting traded to the Texans. So that's what I thought was really interesting. I'm like, you traded for a guy that got benched in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, sounds like more good news for the Titans, but I think that they got a good coaching staff, man. So they know some of the things they know that they need. I thought that the pick, the running back from USC, was interesting. He's another weapon that can catch out of the backfield. That's going to be able to help CJ a lot. He's got some speed and pretty tough too. He played at Mississippi State, so he knows how to play hard-nosed football coming out of the SEC. But that just made me think, all right, like, is he going to be like a 1-2 with Mixon, or is this supposed to be Mixon's replacement? So
it'll be interesting to see, right?
Yeah. But I think that they are still, the team to beat in the AFC South, even with all those changes. They've got the best quarterback in the conference. Still got the best quarterback receiver duo in the conference, and it'll be pretty solid on defense. So I don't think they did anything to crush themselves, but they added pieces where they felt like they needed them.
Yeah, it definitely did. I was interested as well why they probably didn't draft another tight end, because honestly I thought they would draft another one, because Brevin Jordan, he had a great year in CJ Stroud's rookie year, and he just fell off the face of the earth. And then you have Dalton Schultz out there, which, I mean, not to say he was bad, but there are some Texans fans that are down on him. Then you
Yeah.
had another tight end that played with C.J. Stroud in college that was out there too, but he's not necessarily the fastest guy. So
Mm.
yeah, I thought they would go with another tight end, but hey, I just observe. I am not the general manager.
Yeah, man. I actually like Coach Ryans. I think he's one of the
Mm-hmm.
better young coaches in the league. Um, so I don't want to get excited about the draft that they didn't pick up some of the pieces that they probably should have in my eyes. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just kind of got that. They know what they need, man. And they're gonna build
Mm-hmm.
off of it. But and then you got so many teams that say, we go by the board. We go by our board, and what's
Mm-hmm.
available is what's next up is what we pick, right? And I think it seems
Mm-hmm.
like that might have been some of the strategies they were following. They might have just took the guys that were top on their board and kept it moving. Um,
Yeah.
but I will say that it's not easy bringing a line together, right? Like offensive line
Mm-hmm.
play. So, so I played offensive line in college, all my life, and it's like, it's synergy that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Learning a new scheme, number one, and then if you got somebody next to you that's also learning a new scheme, you guys got to mesh, and it can take a lot longer than training camp to do so. So,
Mm-hmm.
to trade away, all pro guys like Tunzel and bring some new guys in. I mean, it's going to be a project for them for sure. So we'll see how it
Mm-hmm.
goes.
Definitely, definitely. Of course, the project for the Indianapolis Colts has always been, can we find a tight end? They've
Hmm.
got Granson. They went and got Mo Alley Cox. He's still there, but he went out the starter. They got Will Mallory. They got Alec Ogletree. None of these guys are it, but they're hoping that Tyler Warren is it because before the draft, I was already saying if he slips past a certain spot, the Colts are going to get him. I basically was like, yeah, the Colts are going to get him, and sure
Yeah,
enough, they did. I mean, have you had a chance to watch him and see the
yeah,
things that man can do?
he's an athlete for sure. He
Yeah, he
is
just
prime athlete.
he, man, he does everything. He can block. He can line up in the slide. He can line up an inline tight end. He can even throw the football.
Yeah, yeah, he's like a Superman type athlete.
Hmm.
He's got all the tools. Um, you put him in a position that he's qualified for, he's gonna score the football. I think
Yeah.
the question for me and them is
Mhm.
who's gonna be throwing them the football is the
Yep.
question. Like
That is the big question.
they made you they made a late pick in Riley Leonard that when
Hmm.
I saw that pick, I'm like, man, like Riley Leonard's another guy that's you know, that's a true athlete. You know what I mean? Like he can use his
Hmm.
legs, but he's also, he's had great careers at multiple schools. And
Hmm.
if you go back and look at his high school basketball film, man, like he's dunking on folks, 360 in, you know what I'm saying? But he was able to take Notre Dame, deep into the playoff. And so yeah, I don't look at that pick lightly because you got a guy like Daniel Jones that, couldn't make it
Hmm.
work, in New York. And I feel like they brought him to Indianapolis to challenge Anthony Richardson because they're not
Hmm.
confident, in his play. He says battle with some injuries. Honestly, how much do we know about Anthony Richardson outside of that one, really good year he had at Florida? Um,
Hmm.
so I think that they created a true quarterback battle for him because if Riley Leonard comes in and shows that, hey, I'm more than this, this system quarterback that you guys think from seeing me, at Notre Dame,
Hmm.
then you could definitely have some discussion going on there about Anthony Richardson's future. Um,
Yeah.
so that was interesting to me. I think that they've got the kind of offense that's got the receivers it needs, the back that it needs, now the tight end that it needs, and fans will start getting frustrated if they can't make that work because the quarterback play is inconsistent.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how
Hmm.
that goes.
Definitely. Another thing we'll see how it goes is they lost two vets up front to the Minnesota Vikings. Ryan
Mm,
Kelly at center, and they lost Will Fries at guard. So that's going to be interesting as well. So you're going to have a new quarterback. You're probably going to have a new battery up front in terms of like a center and a guard. So it's just going to be interesting to see how that Colts offense kind of gets it together and gets it going, because I'm kind of shaking my head a little bit at that interior, that offensive line.
Yeah.
And I will say this: if Daniel Jones beats out Anthony Richardson for the starting job, or if any of the quarterbacks there beats out Anthony Richardson for the starting job, I don't think he can stay in Indiana anymore. Indianapolis. He has to go. He has
Yeah.
to go at that point. If
Yeah.
he's a backup, I think they have to look towards moving him.
Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have. To me, he just doesn't have that signature season yet, of course, and he just doesn't have a lot of film from the collegiate ranks because he was like a one year guy, right? Like, or was he a 2-year guy?
He played a couple years. He was the backup, and then he played a couple years, but it was highly inconsistent both years.
Yeah,
to be honest.
So this is a big offseason for him, and the injury last year that kind of took him out. Like, that was big because that was the time to prove yourself. And
he came back last year, though. He came the first year. He definitely had that injury. That second
year,
that
was the first year. Yeah, the first
year.
Yeah. But I just think that he's got to show and prove. I don't think that they're going to wait long to figure out whether he's the guy for them.
Right, you're right.
I think that they know what they're doing, bringing Daniel Jones in, and who knows, man. Like, the Colts probably might be a better system, less pressure than playing for the New York Giants, and arguably an offense that's built for to succeed. So yeah, man.
You're right.
I want to see him win, but just not against the Titans.
I hear you there. Now, as far as Daniel Jones, man, I'm trying to be positive about the fit here, but I'm sitting there thinking in my mind, I'm like, he does run the football, kind of like how Anthony Richardson does. He can throw the football, but I'm just trying to, he just can't stop making the mistakes that when they count the most, though. That's the thing I'm trying to get my mind over when I'm thinking about Daniel Jones and starting NFL quarterback.
Yep. Well, and then when I think about it, it's like, if he doesn't work out and next year, they're looking for a quarterback, man, I don't see the quarterback class being that strong next year. A lot of people were, talking about, when it came to Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, talking a lot about this not being a strong quarterback class. My apologies. That balloon is. Can you hear that? That balloon is still.
Yeah, I can hear it. It's all good.
Popping. But yeah, this complaining about this not being a strong quarterback class, and yet the following year you got Arch Manning coming up, but then outside of Arch Manning, you got maybe Lenore Sellers, Nussmeier from LSU. But other than that, it's DJ Lagway from Florida, But other than that, Carson Beck. So
trust them, man.
The Colts might be right. The Colts might be in a situation where there's nobody out there, and so we'll see how that
happens,
works,
right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna take another break real quick. When we come back, I got some quick hitters for you. We're talking about the rest of the NFL draft. We'll hit those up real quick right after commercial break.
Awesome.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Washer, two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off of these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get these EBO, the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back on touring the AFC South. Going to finish off the show talking about just the overall draft. And definitely had some thoughts when it came to that. What pick did you like outside of the pick for the Titans? Obviously.
Well, I'm in Atlanta now, and so I live like right around the corner from the stadium. So,
Okay.
I have to, listen to these Falcons fans, here and there at the local sports bar. They've been complaining about, not being able to get to the quarterback, and they got a great young quarterback, offense that can move the ball up and down the field, but they just can't stop anybody. So I really actually liked the Falcons trading back up to tag team James Pierce with Jalen Walker. I think those are two young players, SEC guys that are going to instantly come into their system and cause some disruption for the NFC South.
Okay.
They're fast, strong, and skilled at getting to the quarterback. So I think that was a good play for the Falcons, just to build their roster out and make them more competitive.
Now you might see Rickea Jackson down there now. You know that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You might see Rickea Jackson down a little more. But as far as my favorite pick, I would say I liked Will Johnson going to Arizona. I mean, slipped to the second round. He's a basically All-America type corner, but the only reason he slipped to the second round is because of potential knee issue, or they felt it was a knee issue or a lingering knee issue. I'm like, hey, take a chance on him. What if he turns out to be an all-pro cornerback? Might as well go ahead and do it. What have you got to lose, Arizona?
Lockdown guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd take him. But another question I got for you too. Of course, obviously, Shedeur Sanders slid down the draft and ended up going the 5th round, 144th overall, to the Cleveland Browns. But if you had a chance to actually control the draft, what round or would you actually have had him go to, and what team would you have had him go to?
Okay, so I'm going to say first round. And the reason I say first round is this. I have had an opportunity to watch a lot of, Shedeur playing football. I followed him with, TSU and TSU's rivalry with Jackson State. See him play a few times in the Southern Heritage Classic in person. My first time seeing a kid play, I noticed exactly what his best asset is, and it's his accuracy, right? So I'm like, okay, playing Tennessee State, playing, at that level of football, like you don't see quarterbacks often that are this accurate. And I noticed that off the rip. I'm like, man, he just squeezed that ball in between 3 defenders, like right in the guy's hands. You know what I'm saying? Like this is normal. So, did it 2 years in a row against us. And I saw how deep they went with Jackson State to the SWAC championship and Celebration Bowl. So I was very interested in the storyline when they got to Colorado, because I'm like, I really, understand Travis Hunter, and hopefully he can, have a great career. But arguably, Shedeur had a better career at Jackson State than Travis Hunter did. So, I'm really following Shedeur more than Hunter. And so they get to Colorado and some of the things that he was able to do, continuing with the accuracy. And also his level of toughness. Like you have to consider the fact that the man took hit after hit after hit and still threw for 4,000 plus and 74% accuracy completion rate. Like, this guy can play quarterback. Now, is he better than Cam Ward? That's subjective. Obviously the league didn't think he was. Is he better than everyone else that was drafted ahead of him? To me, the answer is yes. I think that, the closest guy to him obviously will be Jackson Dart, proved that he could play ball and, the SEC system, had success at USC as well as Ole Miss. But I don't see the intangibles there like I do with Shedeur. And so I would have loved to see him go first round. 21st pick to the
Mm-hmm.
Steelers. That's where I saw him falling, and I thought that the story. I thought it was going to be a great situation with Metcalf and Pickens, and just Tomlin. Like I thought that's what was going to happen, and when that didn't happen, I was like, man, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah, it just was. It's like all heck broke loose, and he was just free falling down the draft, which is I didn't see that coming, but maybe others can say they did, but I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, I heard a good take on that though. I heard it's a good take that he didn't have an agent. Dion was pretty much his agent, and if he would have had an agent, that an agent probably would have got a better feel from teams on where he would have been getting drafted, because there would have been more conversation there, a more direct line. They probably where teams felt like they could communicate easier, without having the type of conversation they probably had to have with Prime. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people misjudge teams' interest, and I think they definitely, misinterpreted where teams saw them, on their draft boards.
Yeah. But hey, he's somewhere now, and he's in a good situation to actually be able to prove himself, especially with all those quarterbacks up there.
Absolutely. I think that we will see Shedeur starting probably by week 3, if not week 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's all there for him. I would have to ask you too, what's the thing that you that you hated the most about the draft? I'll tell you what mine is, just to kind of get it started. I used to hate when they give these stories, they give these super sad stories, and they have to make everything about, oh, this happened and that happened or whatever. I'm just like, look, can you just let this man have this happy moment and stop trying to bring us to this sad moment that he overcame? Please stop it. But I mean, do you have anything that kind of just bothers you about the draft when they get up there and get to talking?
Yeah. I think that with me, I just think it's the whole process, like not just the day of, but like just the leading up, like the draft has become a big deal. Even, you know what I'm saying? Like you can bet on the draft now. You know what I'm saying? Like certain aspects of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think that the media has just taken it to another level. Which is, as you saw, even talking back with Shedeur, I mean, like this thing was, starting off from, months ago leading up, and just, all the different takes and how much media coverage is getting now more so than it used to. And then, the day of, now we're just focusing on one story. Like, I just think that, the process of the draft has just become, such a thing that it's gotten away from, just the nuts and bolts of focusing on the players, teams, and fans. You know what I mean? And so, it was as a super fan, right? Like I see Wayne and going up there with Green Bay and other players. Like as we blow Slimmer Huskies up, I want to be known as a Titans super fan, right? Like, but as a super fan, that's tough for me because it's like so much information out there. I got to sit here and gather, and I'm just like, man, like let's just get to it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you, man.
I don't want to see 50 different mock drafts go up and down my timeline. Like everybody's got a mock draft now. It used to just be Mel Kiper and a couple of other guys, but now it's like your neighbor's got one. You know what I mean? Like, like your favorite business has one. It's content now, and so you just don't know what's real anymore, right? So I just think I want them to condense the process down. I like to see them shorten the draft. I don't think the draft should take so long, man. I think they should
like 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't sit down somewhere for 3 days and watch all that. I'm moving around too much, man.
Right. It's like we can, it doesn't take that long to let us know who you want on your roster. So
Right, right. So I'm gathering by the talk at the beginning of the show, you talked about the Titans and very glowingly as well. So I'm guessing you're feeling very uplifted by the draft process this year of the Titans brass.
yes, I feel good about where we're sitting. I think that we've, put ourselves in position to at least battle for um, for the AFC South again. Everything about free agency for us, from adding on to the O line, bringing in some veterans with Zeitler, moving Latham to right tackle, and seeing what Dan Moore Jr. can do for us. I think is we made some moves, and a lot of people say, well, hey, well, man, Moore Jr. had all these sacks last year. I'm like, well, he had to play Myles Garrett, twice a year. You know what I'm saying? Like he had to play the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? Like he was playing tough defenses, and I think the AFC South is going to be an easier task for him. I hope. I hope Will Anderson doesn't take him to the shed. You know what I'm saying? But but I think that we made some really good moves in the off season, and I think that we've addressed our needs almost everywhere. In the secondary, we got better during the draft. At the receiver corps, we got better. At linebacker, we got better in free agency with Barton, and then of course, bringing ourselves a playmaker and shot caller and Cam Ward. I just think that we're back to playing, Titans football now.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to say first off, thank you for allowing me some of your time. I know you're a very busy person. So thank you for allowing me some of your time to come on and talk a little football with me, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's always good talking to you, even when I see you in the shop, man. So next time you're in, man, nothing but a V thing on me.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But can you tell everyone just where they can find Slim and Huskies if they're not sure where they can find Slim and Huskies? Can you tell them where they can find Slim and Huskies if they're looking online to trying to locate Slim and Huskies, perhaps, or just slimandhuskies.com or anything of that nature?
Yeah, the easiest way to follow us is just follow us on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook at Slim and Huskies. Huskies is spelled Huskys. And so just add Slim and Huskies on all social channels. If you want to place an order, online ordering, come visit us at slimandhuskies.com. You can place an online order for pickup, and you can also place an order for delivery through our partners with DoorDash, Uber, and Slice.
Gotcha. Well, man, look, it's great. It's been a pleasure talking to you again, man. It's always fun talking sports with you because see, everybody sees you as the co-founder of Slim and Huskies Pizza, but they don't understand you like to talk a little football as well.
Hey, listen, man. When we talking Titans football in '99, when we when we were down to the Bills, and me and my mom were walking out the stadium pissed off, and we start hearing the uproar, and we take back off running. You can't just leave the stadium and come back in. But
Right.
so many people were like running back into the stadium that people were hopping the gate, and they let us hop the gate. We run back in. Music City Miracle was happening in real time, and I feel like my mom got drenched with a couple of beers, just falling off the second level, man. So, man, I love football, but I really love football in places that I grew up. So that's Hillsborough High School, Tennessee State University Tigers, and of course the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Clint, I thank you for coming on the show. Of course, you don't know who I am. I'm the host of the show, Mike Patton. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Threads at that's THA, not THE, _general_MP. Touring the AFC South, you can find on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. And of course, we're on YouTube at the Mike Patton Network. I want to thank you all again for tuning into this episode of Touring the AFC South. We're out. Peace.